The Wellness Show, episode 105. And by the way, watch right to the end. We have a special offer for everyone.
Welcome to The Wellness Show, a podcast on health and wealth. I'm your host, Tyson Bannigan, the founder of the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy. Join me as we get the latest insight, tips, and strategies from wellness providers, coaches, and successful, heart-centered entrepreneurs, and much, much more. So welcome back to The Wellness Show. This is part 2 with David and Erina Cowan. And in the first session, we really talked about on both the individual and the collective and also the global or planetary level, the change and transformation that we're going through from the chaos of 2016 and the revealing of the wizard behind the curtain and looking at the raw beauty of what we thought was going on, but we didn't really know for sure. It's all being, coming out in the wash. And in this part of the show, we really want to give you, the listener, some ideas and suggestions on practical ways in which you can come up with a way in which you can come into the flow, or come into ease and grace, or come into this year being less struggle, more beauty, more divinity. And for that, I'm excited to talk to David and Erina, because that's what they do. That's what their clientele is all about. That's what their course is all about. And of course, that's what I do too. So I can't help but curious to know, well, what are you guys doing? Because that's what I love to do. If I can help somebody come from where they are to where they want to be in the shortest amount of time, that's what gets me up in the morning. So to carry on with the conversation, and as you said, David, in the last one, really you're encouraging people to have a practice. So let's go from there. What do you mean by that?
Sure. Well, it's something that we devote time and space to. Often our aspirations are pretty high dimensional. We'd like to see love and light, and we'd like to see prosperity and all these things. But we have to bring that down into our 3D experience and honor all levels of our being. And what that means is setting time aside, giving yourself the honor of time. And it doesn't have to be arduous, 10 or 15 minutes a day, but find a time that works for you. It makes sense for us to do it first thing in the morning, because then that sets the tone for the rest of the day. But Spirit is available 24/7. So find a time, find also a place, a sacred space, as it were, where you can do your practice, and others will honor that. Others will respect it. And let others know. If you're living in a busy, noisy household or whatever, let other folks know, I'm taking 15 minutes for me time. Please hold all calls. And really carve that time out for yourself. And then, of course, work with different practices, seek out different practices, and see, like you said earlier, what resonates with you. We all have unique histories, physiologies, circumstances, and not every technique is going to be suitable for every one of us. So you might have to do a little bit of smorgasbording, to find something that really works for you. And what I mean by works is brings you to that state of peace, brings you to that state where you're okay, not analyzing, not planning, not fretting over the past or the future, but perfectly aligned and satisfied to be who you are in the moment. And there are many, many different techniques that can bring you there. It's been said that there are over 7 billion of us on the planet, and 7 billion paths, and they all lead home. So maybe, Erina, you can mention some of the things that work for you, and then I can also mention some of the things that work for me.
So I really, for myself, as well as clients and others who I am engaged with in talking about this kind of thing, I do acknowledge that we all come from different places, and one thing that might be comfortable for one person may not for another. It may feel totally foreign or Greek to them. That's a fuck. Boy, I want to go to Greece. Anyway, sorry, I got downloaded there for a second. Greece. Anyway, I want to see what's Greek to me. So in the meantime, I like simplicity. I love simplicity. I mean, we can do things that are very ritualistic and very involved, and we can do things that are very simple and quick to the chase to bring ourselves down to a calm position. And our nervous systems are really getting tweaked with all this high energy of the collective consciousness changing, of solar flares coming into our atmosphere and cosmic radiation coming in. There's just a lot of energy going on right now, let alone the EMFs from cell phones and so forth. So it's really helpful to bring the nervous system down to a calm place. I have been finding a lot more people telling me lately that people that have never had anxiety issues before feeling anxious now, or having headaches now, or not being able to sleep at night now, or feeling depressed. And all of this is really symptomatic of what we're going through. So a couple things that you can do that are very easy to do and can really bring quick results. First of all, the breath is putting attention on the breath. When we slow down to just put the mind, even right now, anybody that's watching this show, just take 2 minutes with us to pay attention in this moment and to breathe, to listen to my words, but to have a breath in and actually feel it coming into the body. Putting the attention on how that breath moves into the body and then how it moves out of the body. And doing that a couple more times, just 3 times, of really following that sensation of the breath coming in and out of the body has a really big impact. It can calm everything, and going a little longer if one needs to. It calms the nervous system. It actually brings the body back into a balanced pH within 5 minutes. So people are taking all of these alkalizing products, breathe, and you don't have to spend all that money. And it just calms the vagus nerve, and it relaxes the physical body. Therefore, it relaxes our emotions, and it calms the busy mind. It settles the brain into a slower brainwave pattern. So that is so quick and so effective. And another thing is tapping. I'm a big proponent of tapping. Some call it EFT. It has roots. This is not a talk on EFT, so I'm not going to get into that. But I will suggest one website that I find quite handy is thetappingsolution.com. And basically, you can just get all the information you could ever want on that channel. And tapping is a way, it's an integration while using, let me use an example to better explain it. If somebody's having a moment of anxiety and the breath alone isn't doing it for them, well, the mind wants something to do. When we're anxious, the mind's in hyperdrive. Whoa, what's going to happen next? So you need to give it something to do. When we tap, there's a certain sequence of acupuncture points that are used while allowing the mind to follow what the experience is in the moment and not to deny what the experience is. It's a practice of total acceptance. Right now I'm anxious. Even in that anxiety, I can love and accept myself completely as I'm moving through specific points. Even though I'm anxious, I love and accept myself completely. With all this anxiety, I'm feeling kind of crazy. It's a way of talking to oneself. It's a way of practicing what you mentioned in the last section, soulful communication. It's a practice of soulful communication with self. Quieting down enough to hear oneself. Here's the experience I'm having. It feels really crazy, but I'm giving myself actually an acupressure treatment while acknowledging the experience and reminding myself that I love myself. And it can turn a situation completely around in a matter of minutes.
So one of
for
the things
me,
that you're really mentioning then is to be present in the moment and to honor your emotions that are coming up and not deny them, whether it's tapping or whether it's meditation or whatever the technique is that you want to de-stress, or push the delete button, or defrag, or however you want to describe it, and whatever methodology works for you, and try any one you want. Like Dave says, there's a smorgasbord out there. Go sample it and taste it and find what works for you, whether it's EFT, or whether it's reading, or whether it's, sacred books, or whether it's meditating. So those are really helpful. It's the practice of being alive in our body and not denying that we have emotions and that our emotions are okay. And when we do deny them, then they get trapped, and then they lead to resistance, and then disorder and disease are follow quickly. So listening to our body is a key aspect. So that does make sense to me. So I'm curious about, because you've made a shift more recently into teaching from, and I'm trying to remember what it is, the book that you're using. So help me out with that. A Course in Miracles. So what led you to the Course in Miracles, and why has that become a principal body of information that helps you stay centered?
Well, I think we were guided in that direction. And, it really happened about 10 years ago when we had first gotten together. And for myself, I had a bit of a revelation on the beach after we shortly got together. And the revelation was I really didn't understand anything at all. And all my experiences and what I thought I knew to be true really added up to a big zero. I felt this kind of standing on the edge of an abyss of not knowing. And it was a little frightening for both of us, I suppose. And I just left it at that. And then it was shortly after that we were on a road trip and walked into a bookstore, and all the books disappeared except for one book, which it wasn't the Course. It was a book called The Disappearance of the Universe, which I'm sure you're familiar with that title. And it's a book about Gary Renard's experience, which led him to the Course. So we, after reading that book and enjoying it, we decided to open it, go into the Course, which is not necessarily easily accessible. It's almost like it's hidden behind a veil of what appears to be complexity and even Western religious terms, patriarchal terms, enough to keep me away for many years, actually. But when we got to the section of the lessons in the Course, the very first lesson is my thoughts are meaningless, and I don't know what anything is for. And I went, oh my gosh, that's what was speaking at that time, right? Mm-hmm. So that was just the beginning. There's 365 of those lessons, and the first ones are, I don't know anything. So it was, it kind of pulled us into its world, into its realm. But the entire Course is holographic in nature. It's vast, a lot of information, and I think it was designed that way because Westerners, we want to see the complexity of things, right? Mm-hmm. But really, it does boil down to the very first sentence, which says, right at the very beginning, what is real cannot be threatened. What is unreal does not exist. And herein lies the peace of God. So the whole Course is really summed up in a part of it, but that is a beautiful summation of the non-duality of what that Course is speaking about.
Oh, I like that's again. I like that. Here comes that favorite phrase again. Mm-hmm. One of the methodologies or lineages that I've been following is the Tao, and there's like the Course in Miracle. There's a lot of let's call it clutter, social belief systems, Chinese philosophy. A lot of stuff around that. But when you unpack it, even, the 10 Buddhist principles and the 8 this and the 24 that, and you come down to the substance of it, it comes down to you have a choice in every moment. And that choice is you want to come from human mind consciousness, which is your ego and is limited. And like you say, doesn't know squat about anything, never has and never will. It has infinite stories to tell you which are not true. Or do you want to come from your true nature, which is your connection to divinity, which knows everything is connected to source, always has been, you always were loved, always will be. There's nowhere to go and nothing to do but to show up. And so that's your choice. And in one hand, there's complexity, which we love, and storytelling. And then the other is synchronicity and bliss by showing up and being divinely guided. And so in a nutshell, for me, the Tao is a constant reminder through all these texts and all this liturgy, although they don't want to say that it is, of reminding you that you have that choice in every moment.
Yeah.
That thread of non-duality has always been available throughout human history in one form or another. It's like what Aldous Huxley referred to as the perennial philosophy. It's always been available, but not necessarily appreciated. And it's not like everyone's ready for it in a given lifetime. But when you're at a certain stage of readiness and openness and willingness really to let go of that ego, then it'll find its way to you. And it is a path of ultimate return. Well, ultimate return in the understanding that we never left.
Right.
The word recognize is used a lot in these works. You recognize, you remember. And to recognize something is to recognize it. It's something you knew, you lost sight of it, and then you recognize it. So it is really a beautiful expression of what has never changed about us. And but it offers us freedom only when we're ready to acknowledge what it is that we thought we changed, which is ourselves as separate.
And as mentioned a few moments ago, with Eckhart Tolle referenced, is we're at a time now, the fields are blooming now. It's easier, much easier to access understanding of these philosophies because we're creating a morphic field in consciousness that allows us to do so without such a mental struggle.
Yeah, I think that's really true. Where we're really that, the cosmic brain or the planetary evolutionary consciousness is emerging, whereas, with Bach, he was talking about the evolution of consciousness on the individual level, but now we're really having the global brain emerging as the synthesis. And some of the latest literature I've been reading is it's not a huge number, and it's not that everybody needs to be enlightened like the Buddha to have this 100th monkey or this major transformation. I've heard it even said that it's the square root of 1, right? Of the total population of the planet, which is not a very huge number for us to do this. So, and that's a great news story. I mean, if that is truly true, then David's description is that we can see the finish line. We've done the whole circuit, and there's somebody with a nice Kool-Aid drink or lemonade drink on the other side that's been across the line, and we're just about there individually and collectively. And then that can really pull us forward and out of the chaos of when we look around at what's happening. Because I think for most people, 2016 was a really chaotic year, and 2017 looks pretty chaotic too, if we insist on listening to the news, or if we want to get involved in what we are being fed as pablum about, how we should see the world. It is a scary world that they're presenting to us. There is not a lot of good news stories out there. So, yeah.
Isn't it fascinating that the latest surveys are showing that the confidence, at least in the United States, in mainstream media is at an all-time low, I think 17%.
Which is such a great statement of our awakening.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, that is actually, by the way, a great practice. That's wonderful to include in our conversation. A great practice is not to watch news,
Yes.
At least not mainstream news. That alone will relax your nervous system and calm the mind.
Create all kinds of space.
Yes.
Yeah. The other thing is, if you do insist to listen to the news, and maybe this is my excuse for listening to the news, is use it as a two-way communication. Who says that it's only one way, that they're beaming the signal at you and educating you, propagating this, while who says you can't use it as advanced exercises in Ho'oponopono to see what's happening in the world and to bless it and to forgive it and to send it love and to transform it and transmute it. So in one way, send it my way and put me to work. If that's what we got to do to make this
Right.
world a better place to live, then let's transform.
Wonderful. Yeah, it's all a forgiveness opportunity.
Exactly.
We actually get a lot of
That's
our news from comedy channels.
Yeah.
Because
That's
you're seeing the same content, but it's putting it in a much higher context.
like Jimmy Fallon. Who
Yeah.
else?
Saturday Night Live.
Saturday Night Live. We love
Yeah.
Saturday Night Live. They did great coverage of the election down here, and there's still juicy material from it. But you're able to see what's going on. But there is humor. So, and you know what? This is a humorous world if we can see it that way. That doesn't mean we sit back and not take action, but it means we can be a bit more relaxed, so the action we can take will come from a saner place.
Yeah. Nothing like a good belly laugh. I mean, if you look at my trainer,
Yes.
the coming Buddha, he's got a pretty big belly from laughing. So,
That's right.
Well, it actually says in the Course that we got into this mess because we forgot to laugh
Right.
yeah.
at the notion of separation, at the ridiculousness of our plight.
Hmm.
Yeah, the ridiculous of our plight, and which is all prearranged by our own desire to make it complicated.
Mm.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. It was a choice, a collective choice. Nobody's victim here.
No.
And that the forgiveness thing in that is to forgive ourselves and forgive this grand joined game that we decided to play. How do we know we chose to play separation? Because we look like separate selves. We chose to play uniqueness, separation, but with that always comes a sense that there's something missing. There's a lack. I'm not whole. I'm not complete. And so that's what we're waking up to now. And so true forgiveness is simply recognizing the meaninglessness of all that we have been holding on to that has been keeping us in suffering. Just letting it go, saying, was that really necessary? Do I want to be right or do I want peace? And making that choice. That's a practice, a daily practice of forgiveness. And I think that's the number one practice that takes us into the place of peace and joy. And what we're all awakening to together is the practice of letting go, and the practice consciously every day of how can I let go of this? What do I need to let go of? Well, we have an opportunity anytime we don't feel absolutely in peace. There's something that we can let go of.
I think there's the other end of it we could look at too. I mean, letting go and Ho'oponopono means we're at some level bad, rotten, and wrong. I mean, that's really exaggerating, but we somehow screwed up and didn't get it right, so we need to apologize. One way we could look at it is, how about just pure gratitude of all the incredible things that are showing up in our life and how wonderful that is, which keeps us, we don't have to apologize for anything because, wow,
Right.
this is a wonderful world that we live in and it keeps showing up being wonderful. And the more I think it's wonderful, the more it is wonderful. So maybe that's another way of doing Ho'oponopono. Is Ho'oponopono is one level, but really gratitude might be a higher level. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I think so. And actually, I prefer the shortened version of Ho'oponopono, which skips the forgiveness of the asking for forgiveness or I've done something wrong middle part. And it just is, I love you, thank you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to have this experience that's offering me another opportunity to either feel love and see it vibrated back to me, or to go inside and dig a little deeper and just feel that love that's naturally in there. I love you, thank you. Sometimes I run that in my mind frequently during the day. It just becomes this inner talk that keeps going.
Right. And I guess I love you. Thank you is the gratitude part of it, isn't it?
Yes.
There it is, yeah.
Yes.
And if folks want to learn more about the technique and go deeper into the forgiveness, the ebook that you had mentioned earlier on true forgiveness is available as a free download on our website. So if people want to access that ebook and investigate this, they can go there and do that.
Well, why don't you send us the link? Send us the link and we'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah.
Nice.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got a few minutes to go. I think we actually have somewhere like 3 minutes. And so I'd like to sum out both of the shows about, some of the key things we talked about. And also, how can people get hold of you and do some work with you?
Well, what we're really summing up is this is a time to tap into our inner wisdom, all of us, to join in community, to join in a global picture, to realize the optimism that's available to us and the pure potential of 2017 as we're coming into it together, because it is about new foundations. And if anyone wants to get a hold of us, they can go to our site, which is bluesunenergetics.net.
And I'd just like to leave folks with the idea that there are tremendous opportunities opening up for all of us on the planet now. Again, as we started out an hour ago talking about the chaos as a necessary part of this transition, but that it is key for us individually to be willing to take responsibility for whatever our experiences is in life. The choice is, am I a victim of the world or am I co-creator of the new world? And so to embrace that willingness to look within and to take responsibility for our responses, for our understandings, for our judgments, and recognizing they're not coming from a cause outside of ourselves. It is a really complete reversal of the mirror image of the world. The world is like a mirror to our minds, but unfortunately mirrors trick us because they always reverse the image. So take that image back inside, get it correct, and come from that place of empowerment. Whether it's admitting to ourselves, I'm unhappy because I made some bad decisions, or I could be happier if I made these other decisions. This is all available to us, because one thing, no matter what happens, whether you live or die, you never lose the freedom to make new choices.
Each moment.
Each moment. Well, thank you ever so much. It's been wonderful to have you back on the show. Erina, it's great to have you on the show along with David. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Always nice to see you.
Great to see you again.
All right. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
For quality online wellness products, courses, and services, visit our sponsors, thewellnessstore.ca and the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy located at thewellnessacademy.ca. To stay in touch, visit us at thewellnessshow.ca. And until next time, be healthy, wealthy, and wise.
Hey, thanks for watching right through to the end. We do appreciate you here at The Wellness Show. And to show our appreciation at this wonderful time of year, we're going to be giving away a $50 gift certificate over the next 12 episodes. And at the end of the 12 episodes, we'll be giving a $500 grand prize gift certificate that you can spend at either the Wellness Store or the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy. Now, how do I get in to win this? Simple. Like, share, comment, or subscribe to our channel, and then come over to our Facebook page, The Wellness Show, and let us know that you did so. While you're there, you can also comment and enter into the conversation about the current episode and have answers back from Tyson and the people that were interviewed. So again, like, comment, share, subscribe, and tell us you did so on the Facebook page, and we'll enter you in to win a $50 gift certificate, 12 of those, or the $500 grand prize gift certificate to be spent at the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy or The Wellness Show.